JennieRubyJane, what a delightful cascade of names, each syllable a note in a melody, flowing one into the next like a three-tiered fountain, spilling beauty and intrigue. First, Jennie arrives, a name traditionally softened from Jane, yet here it stands alone, proud and complete. It's a prelude, setting a tone both gentle and bright, whispering of genius and gentility. It's a name that hints at quiet strength, a subtle luminosity. Then, at the heart of this trio, burns Ruby. A gem of a name, undeniably, throbbing with a crimson fire. It's no accident this precious stone anchors the sequence. Rubies, symbols of vitality and nobility, resonate across cultures, east and west. In Korea, Jennie's homeland, red is the color of fortune and protection. Ruby is the passionate core, the vibrant center around which the other names orbit. Finally, Jane brings us home, a graceful landing. From Hebrew roots, softened through French, it means simply, powerfully, God is gracious. A name worn by queens and whispered in novels, yet eternally fresh. Here it's the grounding force, a calming counterpoint to the exotic sparkle of Ruby, solidifying and completing the trio. Together, they compose a rhythm, almost musical, JennieRubyJane. 5 syllables that could be a haiku, a tiny poem in themselves, speaking of an identity that effortlessly bridges cultures and generations, a whispered secret in a global tongue. Visually imagine them. Jennie, stacked rectangles, suggesting layers, depths, a quiet persistence. Ruby, diamond sharp, capturing the gem's facets and its keen brilliance. Jane, concentric circles, ripples expanding, echoes in time, timelessness itself. 3 segments, a visual beat, like a piece of modern music translated into shapes, each name component possessing its own geometric signature, yet harmonizing with the whole. Now see it rise, a towering presence, each name a pillar lending support. Jennie, a gentle rain falling softly. Ruby, a central column, strong and unwavering. Jane, echoing upwards like rising steam, completing the structure, ethereal and grounding both. Consider the dialectic, the dance of duality, within this name. Jennie itself exists in a quantum state, hovering between Jennie and Jennifer, Korean and Western, at once and neither. This duality isn't a compromise, but a potent synthesis, creating a third space, an identity that transcends binary boxes. Like Schrodinger's cat, Jennie exists in multiple cultural states, simultaneously real and potential. And Ruby, that gemstone born of immense pressure and heat, a perfect mirror for identity's own crucible. In mineralogy, a ruby is essentially aluminum oxide, corundum, with mere chromium impurities. Yet it is precisely for these impurities that we value them for the richness they bring. Similarly, identity itself is forged through the impurities of experience, culture clash, temporal displacement. The very things that seem to complicate actually crystallize the most precious parts of ourselves. The ruby becomes a potent metaphor for the way identity takes form under the pressures of culture. Then Jane, seemingly the most conventional, the most familiar element, and yet it functions as a subtle act of subversion. In Western contexts, Jane whispers conformity. In the vibrant, hyperkinetic world of K-pop, it becomes exotic, unexpected, almost rebellious in its simplicity. This contextual fluidity, this chameleon quality, reveals how meaning is never fixed, always relational, always in flux, a constantly shifting current. Together, these 3 names, seemingly disparate, create a dialectical progression, a philosophical movement within a single word. Thesis, Jennie, cultural hybridity, the space between worlds. Antithesis, Ruby, crystallized individuality, the fierce, unique self forged in pressure. Synthesis, Jane, transcendent identity, rising above binaries, a timeless grace. This is not merely a name, it's a philosophical proposition, an inquiry into identity in our hyperconnected age, generating meaning through internal tensions, through resolutions both implied and felt. Consider the temporal frames layered within. This name exists across time. Past, echoes of traditional Korean naming conventions, whispers of ancestral choices. Present, utterly contemporary, within the conventions of the K-pop industry, perfectly suited to its global stage. Future, pointing towards a global cultural fusion, a world where identities are fluid and beautifully complex. And cultural resonance. The name acts as a semiotic bridge spanning East and West, seamlessly connected. Traditional and modern, dancing together in time. Individual and collective, personal expression within a global phenomenon. Authentic and constructed, blurring the lines in a world of performance. Philosophically, this name becomes a potent case study in the very construction of transnational identity, a self built across borders. The commodification of cultural hybridity, the selling of a self that is both unique and universally appealing. The inherent authenticity paradox within global pop culture, where performance and sincerity intertwine. And ultimately, the very evolution of naming conventions in our rapidly digital age, where names carry new weight and meaning. This name moves beyond binary thinking, beyond simple categories. JennieRubyJane is * neither purely Korean, nor solely Western, but something altogether new. * neither completely personal, nor entirely commercial, existing in both realms. * neither randomly assembled, nor conventionally structured, a deliberate act of creative naming. It's almost a quantum name, existing in multiple states simultaneously, until observed through a specific cultural lens, collapsing into a single, yet multifaceted, point of meaning. In final synthesis, JennieRubyJane is more than just a name. It is a thesis statement on modern identity itself. It is a perfect crystallization of our global cultural moment, where identity is neither fixed nor fluid, but quantum, existing in multiple states simultaneously, creating new possibilities through its very indeterminacy. It is a name for our times, a name that is our times.